Have any success against the Yorktown Cornhuskers. Coach Durney said during the week that there's no way you stop Yorktown, you just slow them down. And I think defensively he's going to try to put some things in that'll slow down the Cornhuskers. And another idea that he has is that if Portchester can't control the ball and make long drives, that will be one of the key issues in trying to win today's football game.
It is, and Yorktown predominantly is a running club. We covered them a couple weeks ago when they played Fox Lane, and they threw the ball a lot. Quarterback Matt Keone, who's got 320 yards passing so far on the season, can go to the air, even though I like to keep the ball on the ground to their young rushers. Ari Leach and Don Weiss are their main rushers. Both of them Leach has 475 yards so far this year, and Weiss averages 11.5 yards per carry.
Well, if you look at the what Portchester would need to do against Yorktown offense with all the firepower that they have, I think Coach Durney is going to A, try to stop the run, B, try to stop the run, and C, try to stop the run. Yorktown has thrown on an average of 4 times per game, with only 27 throws in 7 games. Now, even though quarterback Matt Keone has completed 14 and has 6 TDs with only 1 interception, Yorktown's main offensive weapon is the run. They have a lot of running backs who can carry the ball, and Portchester's going to have to defend them to win the game.
Yeah, the key for Portchester is Vic Baccarosa. He's not a big guy, but he's very intelligent out there on the field. He's a really good leader for the Rams club. He ran for 275 yards already this year, and has thrown for 629 yards. Now we know he's not the sole man on this team. Rasheed Merritt, another excellent running back for Portchester, as is John Hegedus and Kevin Gordon.
Well, if you look at the Portchester team, Baccarosa is the key. He must have a good game for Portchester to win. Now, Portchester is also hard to defend offensively. They have over 1,100 yards rushing during the course of the season, but no one person has more than 237 yards. That means Yorktown has to be concerned with who's going to carry the ball and how far they're going to get, because all the Portchester runners have decent averages. So between Rasheed Merritt, Kevin Gordine, Bobby Williams, Chris Lawson, and John Hegedus, and Vic Baccarosa, that is a big task that Yorktown must accomplish. But we also must remember that Yorktown only a couple of times this year have been tested. Somers, who's in the B League and B champions in the 2B League, played into a 10-0 game, and Mamaroneck also lost to them 20-10. And those are the closest games that Yorktown has had all year. So Portchester's looking to have a real tight, intense defensive games. And if they can do that, I feel that because the firepower of Portchester offense is so potent, that if they can slow down Yorktown, then we'll have a ball game here today.
Now, you got to speak with Joe Durney this week. What was his feelings? What was his mood like this week?
Well, Joe, to his credit, is a very steady individual. He doesn't let last week get him too high. He doesn't let last week get him too low. He doesn't let the game coming up cloud his work ethic and what he thinks he has to do to get the Rams ready. So he is pretty much put everything behind him. He looks to Yorktown. He told his team, do not fear the enemy, respect the enemy. And that's exactly the way he coached his team this week. A lot of respect for Yorktown, but they don't fear Yorktown. They feel they can win the game with a couple of breaks going their way. He told me that if Portchester makes no mistakes on defense or limits them, plays good offensive football, and does the thing that they were taught to do, that he feels that they have a chance to upset Yorktown, who's clearly, by the way, the favorite in the game today.
Well, they were the state champs last year in their division, and this year they look strong enough that they can go back to Syracuse and recapture the title.
Well, Yorktown is on a 16-game winning streak going back to last year. I think they lost early in the year to Brewster 6-5 in a stormy game. They even played Brewster after that and defeated them soundly. So that was the only, a 1-point blemish was the only blemish that they had on their schedule the whole last year. And if you go back to the year before that, when they won the bowl championship against Portchester 24-0, they're going on a 3-year status of being one of the best football teams in Section 1.
They kind of, you know, they're similar to the North Rockland club. They won the championship last year, and this year they're rolling through their league like Yorktown is. Now today, North Rockland is taking on Arlington in League 1A playoffs, and that's a big game as well as this one is.
Right, North Rockland and Arlington both 7-0, both scoring approximately 170 points, and both defenses giving up an average of less than 5 points per game. And when you do that, you know you're going to win a lot of football games.
Okay, we're now ready for our national anthem. And that was the Portchester Marching Band playing the national anthem.
Pete, there's music to my ears for all you Yorktown fans out there. I coached the Portchester Rams from 1974 to 1983, and in the background they have our band is playing the fight song. So this is an exciting time for me, but I promise you all I'll be fair in calling one of the best football games going in the county today in Westchester.
Well, we thank you for that, Mark. And the Yorktown fans thank you for that. Well, like, you know, it's a perfect day. Beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon. You couldn't ask for better weather. The field looks in tremendous shape.
Okay, let's make sure I have everybody now. Let's see.
Both teams are healthy, as we said earlier.
Hi, Vic. How you doing?
And both coaches were very pleased with their team's practice during the week.
You know, Pete, it's been a wonderful football season.
Number 62 is Captain Frank. Thank you. Number 13 is Captain Donning. Hi, Donning. Number 75, Phil. Hi, Phil. You weren't on a number. Number 3 is Captain Rob. Hello, Rob. Number 63, I don't have you. John. There's John. Okay, John. And number 6 is Captain Ari. How are you, Ari? Okay, my fellow officials. You have Doug Scott. He'll be on this side of the field. Doug is the head linesman. He'll be watching the progress of the ball down the field. In the middle is Rich Doyle. He's the umpire. His basic responsibility will be the holding and the line play. And on this side of the field will be Greg Scott. He'll have all the downfield play, the punts. He'll have also the auxiliary timepiece on the field. Today, the official clock is the scoreboard clock, okay? I expect you guys to play a clean, hard football game. It's going to be a very important game, and I'll hold you guys responsible for everything that happens on the field as far as your teams are concerned. I'm out here to help you in any way I can. On the options for penalties, if you don't understand the option, please ask me to repeat them, and I'll be happy to give you another option, okay? If you need some help from your coach, we'll get some help from the coach, okay? No secrets out here. We'll do a good job for you, okay? Now, who's going to call for the Portchester team? Number 10 is going to call. This is a head. This is a tail. Please call it in the air. I'm going to let it hit the ground.
Head.
He calls a head. It is a tail. The black team has won the toss. Okay, what would you gentlemen like to do? You'd like to defer? Okay, that means in the second half, it's going to be your choice. Now, it'll be your choice this half.
We want the ball.
Do you want to receive? Okay, let me pick up my coin. Which goal would you gentlemen like to defend? Would you put your back to that goal, please? No, that's in the pros. The black team has won the toss. They defer. The white team will receive. Good luck, gentlemen. Good luck.
Here in the first quarter.
Booger hanging from your nose when
When that camera was ready, you got a booger hanging
still there?
So it looks like we're ready to go here for this big clash between the Portchester Rams and the Yorktown Cornhuskers. Glad you could join us today on Cablevision. Looking for an outstanding game between these two clubs.
You know, Pete, you look at both sides of the field, Yorktown has a nice stadium setting where they have stands on both sides of the field, and both sides of the field, the Yorktown side and the Portchester side, is fully loaded with fans. There's people standing along the fence, and they're gathering around the outer areas now. The crowd seems to be getting more and more as we get to kickoff time, and that's really nice to see the parents and friends of both Yorktown and Portchester come out to support their teams.
Yeah, we do have a good crowd and a lot of visitors here. A lot of people from Portchester traveled up about 30 miles north to see their team play. So Portchester is going to receive the kick. Portchester is in the away white uniforms with the silver helmets, and Yorktown's in their usual Raider-looking uniforms in the black and silver. Doing the kicking for Yorktown is Josh Wolfson. He'll kick off, and back to receive for Portchester is Kevin Gordine and Rasheen Merritt. And here we go. Good kick by Wolfson. Merritt picks it up at the 5. He gets to the 20 and down about the 23-yard line. So Merritt got 15 yards after the kick, and Portchester's going to start off at their own, looks like 24-yard line.
It was a nice kick on the part of Yorktown. It was high enough to give their team a little bit of coverage time, and Portchester's operating with not that really good field position.
All right, the offense for Portchester, quarterback is Vic Baccarosa. The running backs are Anthony Ceruzzi, John Hagedis, and Kevin Gordine. Split end is John Castellano. Guards are Frank Belfatti and Mike Capacci. The two tackles are Rashish Kumar and John Flynn. And it looks like first play, Portchester goes nowhere.
Bobby John Williams slipped on that, and Baccarosa had everything to do just to get the ball to him. His knee hit, and there was a loss on the play.
The defense for Yorktown, at nose tackles Matt Storm. Two tackles are Matt Pansy and Phil Santambrino. Two defensive ends are Ari Leach and Adam Lodwick. Two linebackers, Robert Anderson and Jeff Lynch, and the D-backs are Evan Page, Pete Corello, and Tim Corba. Inside handoff goes to Bobby Williams again, and he picks up about 3 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 7 for the Rams.
Yorktown sporting its 5-3-3 defense, a defense that has given up an average of less than 5 points per game this year. So if Portchester wants to score, they're really going to have to make very little mistakes and be an intense offensive line. I think the key to this game might be Portchester's offensive line.
Well, Bobby Williams averages almost 5 yards per carry. Baccarosa rolls out to his left. He's going to run with it, and he's nailed at about the line of scrimmage by number 29 of Yorktown, Pete Cariello. So it's going to be 4th down in a kicking situation for the Rams.
There's great angle of pursuit on the part of Yorktown. That's one of Portchester's more prominent plays, is the option or the roll in which the quarterback would take the ball. And Yorktown was ready for it, and there were a whole bunch of black shirts around Vic Baccarosa.
Don Weiss is back for Yorktown to receive the punt. And there's the kick. Weiss gets it out about the 41-yard line, and he's taken down immediately, and a flag is thrown by one of the referees.
Weiss took the ball, and as he was trying to run, it looked like there might have been a push against the Portchester player trying to make a play on Weiss. Now, Yorktown had good field position at the 41-yard line, and I think the ball is going to be pushed back all the way inside the 30 as they mark it on the 27.
First down.
That's a big break for Portchester.
So Yorktown will take the ball at their own 28-yard line. The kick, by the way, was by Tom Monelli. So it's 1st and 10, 9:26 remaining here in the first quarter. No score. Glad you could join us here on Cablevision. Yorktown with the ball. They're in the home white. Hand off to Ludwig, and he's got a nice game. He picks up about 6 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 4.
And that's exactly what can't happen to Portchester. Get Yorktown into that steamrolling mode where they give the ball. You see their offensive line blowing people off the ball. You see great downfield blocking and big pickups on each carry.
The Yorktown offense, that quarterback is Matt Keone. 3 running backs are Robert Anderson, Ari Leach, and Don Weiss. And there's a handoff up the middle. Pickup of about 2 yards. Looks like the ball was carried by Don Weiss. The split end is Adam Ludwig, tight end Jim Tessie. The 2 guards are Matt Pansy and Phil Settembrino. The 2 offensive tackles are Tom Gorman and John Giuliani, and the center is Jeff Lynch. So it's 3rd and 4 for the Cornhuskers. That's handoff to Robert Anderson, and he's going to have enough for a 1st down. Dan Gianturco made the tackle for the Rams. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cornhuskers on about their own 40-yard line.
It wasn't bad defense on the part of Portchester. They just let the flow get a little bit outside them. If they came up a little bit harder, they could have stopped the Yorktown Cornhuskers short of the 1st down. But make no mistake about it, Coach Ron Centevec is going to run the ball until Portchester proves that Yorktown can't run the ball.
Ari Leach gets the ball, and he's stopped immediately. Stopped immediately by number 42, Bobby Williams, the linebacker for Portchester. Now let me give you the rest of the defense. The 2 defensive ends are Chris Berlingo and Mike Berlingo. The 2 defensive tackles, John Flynn and Mike Capacci. Linebackers are Bobby Williams, Jan Diendurko, and Chris Lawson. And the 3 defensive backs are John Hegedus, John Castellano, and Vic Baccarosa. So it's 2nd and 10 for Yorktown. It's a quarterback keeper. So he tosses it back to number 34. That's Adam Ludwig.
Proof of the pudding of Coach Ron Centevic's philosophy. Yorktown's going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball until they run it right. And they're only going to pass when absolutely necessary. And because it's early in the game, even though it was 3rd and long, Coach Ron doesn't think that that was an absolutely necessary time to throw the ball.
So back to receive the ball for Portchester is John Castellano. And there's the kick. Castellano gets it at about the 20. He goes back. Out forward is a penalty marker down. And they called the play dead. His knee must have hit the ground, but there was a face mask there on Castellano.
Well, somewhere along the way, I think the referee signaled Yorktown.
Looks like he called him down with his knee hit the ground. But I didn't see his knee go down.
Well, I'm not so sure.
It'll be 5 yards.
Oh, they're bringing the ball back now.
Joey! 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 Joey!
Be 1st down. 1st down.
Well, Coach Joe Durney's out on the field screaming at one of the refs.
Whatever the penalty was is going to give Yorktown a 1st down. Now, if he called for a fair catch and ran with the ball.
Well, that's a break for Yorktown. They get it at midfield.
All right, I have to be honest with the folks out there that I didn't realize that that would bring the ball back and Yorktown would keep the ball. Usually when you take possession of a ball and commit a penalty, you're penalized at that spot. But that may be a rule I'm not familiar with.
So it's 1st and 10, ball at midfield. Handoff to Don Weiss. He goes wide, and he's forced out of bounds. Pickup of about 3 yards. He was forced out of bounds by number 65, Mike Berlingo of the Rams.
Again, Portchester did a good job of stringing out the football to the sidelines, but Yorktown has that propensity to move the ball forward even if they're getting it strung out, and they still came up with a 4-yard gain on that.
So 2nd and 6, 5:40 remaining here in the first quarter. Pete Ruff, Mark Santora with you. Glad you could join us. That's Weeks up the middle. Excuse me, that's Robert Anderson with a pickup of about 10 yards. That's going to be a first down for the Cornhuskers.
Well, Coach Sturdy was saying they can't afford to make mistakes against Yorktown. And, of course, they made a mistake on that punt return, brought the ball back. Yorktown is marching down now.
So it's 1st and 10, ball on the 35-yard line of Portchester. Keone keeps it. He rolls to his left. He's got a man open downfield. Don Weiss was wide open but couldn't hold on to it.
Weiss is the all-purpose back for Yorktown. He'll catch the punts, he'll take kickoffs back, he'll catch passes, he'll throw passes, he'll run from scrimmage. He does it all. And one of the former Con Ed winners, Mr. Weiss, is surely a popular man in the offense of Yorktown.
What's remarkable about this kid is that he averages 11.5 yards per rush, which is incredible. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Cornhuskers. Hand off to Anderson, and he gets about 2 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 8.
Good contain on the left side of Portchester defense, keeping Anderson from getting to the outside, allowing the rest of the Portchester defense to catch up to Mr. Anderson.
Chris Berlingo was in on the tackle. So it's 3rd and 7 for the Cornhuskers. Keone, the quarterback, hands off to Ari Leach. And Leach is tackled by number 74 of Portchester. That's Rahesh Kubar. So Kubar with a big tackle brings up 4th and 3. And it looks like Yorktown's going to go for it. Ball is on the 26-yard line of Portchester. Inside handoff to Adam Ludwig, and it's going to be close. Tackle was made by number 61, Chris Berlingo of Portchester. It looks like he's a little bit short.
Portchester had good gang tackling them, but I'm very impressed with the Yorktown running backs and how they don't go down easy. They fight and fight for that yardage. He made it a lot closer than it ought to have been.
Ludwig averages 7 yards per carry. Both Ludwig and Weiss, very powerful runners. And Portchester held, so they'll get the ball. A big play.
Now these are
Chris Berlingo to hold them.
Excuse me, Pete. These are the little things that Portchester needs to do to build confidence against this club. Remember, 2 years ago in the bowl game, Yorktown pulverized Portchester. They shut them out. They ran all over them. And I know that was in the back of the minds of a lot of Portchester fans, but the team itself had a good week of practice, and they feel that if they play well, they have a chance to upset Yorktown.
Well, it's still no score with 3:33 remaining here in the first quarter. And there's a penalty flag thrown. I didn't see any motion on the Portchester line. It looks
illegal
like
procedure against Portchester.
So now moving back 5 yards.
Makes it 1st and 15.
Stay down, please.
Little things.
It looked like everybody was messed up then, really.
Down, and then you do these little things which push you back in a hole. They're not the things that are going to allow you to win. And these are things you cannot do against the Yorktown Cornhuskers. They're too big, too strong, and too smart.
So it's 1st and 15 now. Ball's on the 18-yard line of the Rams. Pitch back to number 42. That's Bobby Williams. And he picked up about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 15.
Oh, we talked about how smart they are. You see Yorktown adjusting to the strength of the formation right before the ball was snapped. They had people in position, and then they played good, hard, tough-nosed football and stopped Bobby John Waynes for a short gain.
second and 15. Ball is on the 20-yard line of the Rams. Baccarosa, the quarterback. That's Hegedus in motion. Fake pitch out, inside handoff to 23, Kevin Gordine. And he wasn't fooled. Tackle made there by number 28 or 29 of Yorktown, Pete Cariello.
Pete Cariello did an excellent job of not going for the fake pitch to the right side. Took the inside handoff. He stayed home and made the tackle.
Kevin Gordine comes out. John Castellano to the near side of the picture. Baccarosa looks over the middle. He's got a man. John Hegedus was wide open at about the 40-yard line, but couldn't hold on to a big hit there by number 51, Jeff Lynch.
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest hit came from number 21, Dan Janderko, who happens to play for Portchester. Two ends converged over the middle. Hegedus was ready to grab the ball, or Janderko was ready to grab the ball, and they both collided, and the ball was right on the money. Both Portchester kids were there, and the ball was dropped.
So Portchester is going to have to kick from their own 22-yard line. And doing the kicking for Portchester is Tom Mullally. High kick. Weiss calls for a fair catch at about the 48-yard line. And that's where Yorktown will take the ball. So far, a defensive match. Both teams not giving up too many yards. Portchester with that big fourth down holding Yorktown.
Now, isn't it something, Pete, that we talk about how big and bad both offenses are, how many points they both scored in the course of the year, and then the first quarter comes and we have a defensive struggle.
Well, like the old saying says, defense wins games. And these two teams are a true test of that. So it's 1st and 10 for Yorktown. Ball at the 48-yard line. Handoff to Weiss. He goes to his left. He's to the 45, to the 35, and down at about the 26-yard line. Don Weiss with a big pickup.
Yorktown's Mr. All-Purpose takes the ball off tackle, cuts it back for a big gain. Again, at any time Yorktown can strike on the ground, and this is why they don't put the ball up in the air. They're patient. They will take it and wait it out, and they will bust a big one or they'll grind it out on you.
So 1st and 10, ball's on the 26-yard line of Portchester. Keone, the quarterback, hands off to Ari Leach, and he picks up about 9 yards. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Now, psychologically, when you make a mistake as a penalty, and then your teammates collide in, and you drop a ball, and you have to punt again, you give the opposite team good field position. Psychologically, that gets you on a down. Now, in 2 offensive plays, Yorktown has moved the ball about 32 yards. And again, that shows maybe a little bit of letdown on Portchester's part, and that's not something that they can do.
Well, Baccarosa made the tackle, and they're having a measurement out on the field now. Looks like he's just a little short.
Pete, these are one of those second down plays where coach can either simply say, I'm going to take it and get the first down and keep moving, or he can try something to get a
passing down. And Portchester is calling timeout. Coach Joe Durney's walking out to talk to his defense. So with 57 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, it's scoreless between Yorktown and Portchester. Their backs against the wall now, 2nd and short. Yorktown has moved on 3 plays. They've moved 30 yards. Looks like they're starting to figure out this Portchester defense.
Well, you know you're in for a game when you look out there and you see that the Yorktown backs are as big as the line. You know you have to play a hard game.
And Yorktown's a very fast team, too. Very fast. So here we go. 2nd and inches for Yorktown. Ball is on the 22-yard line of Portchester. Keone Hands off up the middle to Ari Leach, and he's got enough for a first down. Picks up about 6. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 10.
Now,
Chris Lazan was the tackler.
I'm not surprised by Coach Santavica's call. They're gonna grind it out, and that's what they want to take time off the clock, run the ball, make a score, get the ball again, and do it again.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter. Or no, excuse me, that's an official timeout. There's still 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
It looks as though the ball is just a shade outside of the 10-yard line, Pete, and Yorktown may be able to get a first down inside the goal line, right outside the goal line, I should say.
The marker is right in front of the pylon. So yeah, you're right, Mark. It looks like they can get a first down without scoring. Looks like they're doing some adjusting to a Cornhusker helmet over there. That's that's Phil Santambrino, the offensive guard. Looked like they're fixing his helmet.
You know, Pete, as I look around on the other side of the field, I see a lot of fans, and I really don't know too many Yorktown people. I look on this side, and I see a lot of teachers. I see the superintendent of school, the principal of our Portchester High School come out for the game. And I'm sure Yorktown has its representatives over there. That's really great. It's nice to see the support.
You know, and he keeps it. He's looking to throw. He's pushed out of the pocket. He's running to his left, and he's taken down by number 76 of Portchester, or that's 75, John Flynn with the sack. Bobby Williams was also in on the tackle.
Well, Pete, I'm glad I don't read palms because I'd lose money on the deal. Here I'm saying that Coach Santavica knows how to get into the end zone on the ground. He rolls out. They're not a big passing team. Portchester sacks the quarterback and puts them a little bit in a hole.
You know, I would have understood that call the play before when they were 2nd and inches. But on 1st and 10, you got to wonder. But anyway, it'll be 2nd and 15 now for Yorktown as the first quarter comes to a close. With the score, Portchester nothing and Yorktown nothing. We'll be back for Yorktown on the 15. Henderson gets the handoff, and he stopped out about the line of scrimmage. He might have picked up a yard. It'll bring up 3rd and 14 for Yorktown.
I gained about a yard on that, guys.
Portchester's doing a good job of sticking together down there inside that red zone. They were a little bit soft
They go for a field goal
earlier on. They're tightening up now and making it a little bit harder for Yorktown to move the ball.
Ball's on the 14-yard line. Keone, the quarterback for Yorktown. Handoff up the middle to Ari Leach. And he's well short of the first down. Pick up about 3 yards. It'll be 4th and 10 for Yorktown, and it looks like they're going to bring in the field goal unit.
Pete, you know, a lot of people might say, why did Coach Santavica call a play right up the middle? Well, they have so many weapons that they can go in the middle, off tackle, around the ends. Portchester has to be prepared for everything. A little snap play up the middle could have went for all the way. It's not really a bad call at all on his part.
Tim Corbin to do the kicking. The kick is up. And it is no good. It's line right. So Portchester stages off a Yorktown field goal.
Kind of got underneath it, huh?
Again, Portchester hanging tough, doing the job in the red zone, and stopping the Cornhuskers for the 2nd time. Now they have to see if they can muster up any offense, which they have not been able to do so far this afternoon.
Portchester's defense has been on the field most of the game so far. So their offense should be well rested. So the ball's on the 20-yard line of the Rams. It'll be 1st and 10 for Vic Baccarosa and company. Inside handoff. Looks like it was Bobby Williams.
Nice adjustment on the part of the Yorktown front line, and no one blocked the defensive tackle. He was right there, was not fooled, made the play. That That was number 42 for Yorktown, Matt Storms.
Kevin Gordine was the ball carrier. Picked up a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Looks like Matt Storms is not a tackle, but actually the nose guard for Yorktown.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yorktown with a 5-man front. Baccarosa back to pass. He's got a man. That's number 21. That's Dan Gianderco with the reception. Catch was good for 7 yards. That'll bring up 3rd and 3.
That looks similar to the play before, just a little bit shallower. Gianderco has had a good year going over the middle and catching passes. That's been one of his favorite pass plays, and Baccarosa has been getting more and more comfortable throwing it to Gianderco over the middle.
So 3rd and 3 for the Rams. Baccarosa looks like he's going to keep it, and he goes down with a loss. Baccarosa loses about 2 yards. It'll be 3rd and about 6.
Yorktown defense was not fooled at all on that, and they were all over. They were all over Baccarosa in the backfield, and there's a Portchester player down on the field.
That's 4th and 6. So we got an injury timeout on the field with 8:50 remaining here in the first half. It's no score.
Research indicates we Americans create.
Portchester to kick.
Big pressure again by Leach.
Nice kick. Rice gets it at the 40. He's to the 45. Still on his feet to midfield. And down at the Portchester 48-yard line. So nice run back by Don Weiss.
That was an excellent run back by Don Weiss. The Portchester coverage was there. It was a high punt. You know, Don took it over his shoulder, turned around, found where he can find an opening, made a few jukes, and got it to into Portchester territory. And when you find a high school student who can have the intelligence to do that, plus the physical skills to do that, you got yourself one heck of a ball player.
So it's 1st and 10 for Yorktown on the 48. Handoff goes to Ari Leach, and he gets a yard. Nice tackle by Chris Berlingo, number 61 of Portchester.
Again, the wing T offense that Yorktown likes to show leads you to sometimes wonder where the ball is, and Portchester must keep their eyes and ears open because anyone on that similar kind of a play can be carrying the ball.
Leach and Weiss in the backfield. Weiss gets the handoff, and he got about 5 yards on that carry.
Dan Gianderco made an excellent hit on Weiss. Weiss bounced off him and got 3 more yards. Tough little ball player.
Third down, we need 4.
Tackle was made by Chris Berlingo.
We need 4.
Again. So it's 3rd and 5 for the Cornhuskers. Hand off to Ludwig, and he gains maybe a yard. Tackled there by Vic Baccarosa. So it'll be 3rd and 2.
Although Yorktown has controlled the ball most of the first half, I'm sure that they are getting somewhat concerned over the fact that they're just not running down the throats of Portchester. I think that they thought that they could, but Portchester all year long defensively has had that that instinct defensively to make teams work for their yardage.
So 4th and 1, Yorktown brings on the punting unit. Castellano and Baccarosa back to receive the kick. It's a short kick. Baccarosa calls for a fair catch, and he makes it at the 16-yard line. So that's where Portchester will take over. It'll be 1st and 10. And this Portchester offense has been hampered here in the first half.
Well, you know, it's not surprising knowing that Yorktown defense has been so tough all year. you know, just because they're playing a better type of an offense than maybe they have played in the past few games with some of the teams that they played, they are still rough and tough. A lot of respect for that Yorktown defense.
Baccarosa, inside handoff. Leach takes the ball, gained about 2 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 8 for Portchester on their own 18-yard line.
Senior captain Frank Belfata for Portchester remains on the sideline. Last week against Pearl River, he damaged his ankle, did not practice most of the week, and has re-injured the ankle here in the first half. That makes their line a little bit weaker.
Baccarosa hands off to John Hegedus. And Hegedus gains about 2 yards. It'll be 3rd and 5 from the 20-yard line of the Rams.
So far, the football game has been played in Portchester's half of the field. Yorktown has not had the opportunity to score, although they've had more opportunities than Portchester. Portchester has not have come close to making a substantial drive in the first half.
The reason this game is scoreless is because of the 4th down and 1 that Portchester held Yorktown, and the field goal that was missed wide right here in the second quarter.
Again, big play.
Otherwise, Yorktown has dominated this first half. Baccarosa back to pass. Goes over the middle, and it's a nice catch by number 21, Dan Gianderco.
Well, the only place that Baccarosa could throw the ball was low. He threw it low, a little bit behind Gianderco, but Gianderco has had soft hands all year long, and he's taken it for a first down. And that's a very big first down for Portchester.
It's a 7-yard pickup and enough for the first down. So the ball spotted on the 30-yard line of the Rams. First completion of the day for Vic Baccarosa. Hegedus in motion. And that's going to be the 4-minute warning here. 4 minutes left in the first half. So if you're Coach Joe Durney, you got to be kind of pleased with your defense, not giving up points, even though Yorktown is moving the ball. They're getting tough when they have to.
Well, they stiffened when they had to do that, especially down deep in their own zone. Yorktown has a long way to go in the football game, and we're going down to Darren.
We got a report from Darren on the sideline.
The injury situation with Frank Belvato is that he suffered a severe sprain of his ankle. He says that he has a chronic ankle problem. They're unsure as to whether or not he will be able to return. Back to you guys, Mark and Pete upstairs.
Thanks, Darren. So it's 1st and 10, ball on the 30-yard line. And if you're Joe Durney or Coach Durney, do you go to the air at all?
I think if you get a little bit better field position, you start throwing it up a little bit more, because I don't think you're going to run too much on this defense here of Yorktown.
Baccarosa pitches it out to 23. Kevin Gordine, and he picks up 4 yards.
What's he doing?
4 yards, it'll be 2nd and 6.
I'd also like to note that there really is no panic in Yorktown with a score of 0-0. I mean, they are a great, confident team, and they feel that they can turn things around when things get a little bit on the downside for them. And right now, the score is 0-0, and there's a long way to go in a football game.
They are an explosive team. Baccarosa keeps it, goes up the middle, picks up about 10 yards to about the 46-yard line, but there is a flag on the play.
Number 21 went in motion.
And it looks like it's going to be against Portchester.
Motion to take it back 5.
Nice run by Vic Barcarosa. Found an opening on the left side of the offense.
Yeah, 5 yards.
And picked up 10 yards, but it looks like there's illegal motion on Portchester. So
Illegal motion.
Ball back 5 yards.
Number 21 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Yeah, those are the type of things that Portchester can't afford to do. They got the ball out to the 46-yard line, which is 30 yards from where they started, and they would have had starting to get into excellent field position. Now they're all the way back at their own inside their 30.
Ball's on the 29, 2nd and 12. Barcarosa pitches it back.
Excellent defense by Yorktown. Lynch came all the way over to make the tackle, and there were a lot of other black shirts in the area.
Kevin Goradine was hit almost immediately after he got the ball. It'll be 3rd and 10 for Portchester. A little under 3 minutes remaining here in the first half. Vic Barcarosa, the quarterback for Portchester, back to pass. Looks to his left. He had Rasheed Merritt wide open, but threw it a little bit behind him.
Yeah, a little bit in front of him. Merritt had some room out there. And that's going to bring up a 4th down for Portchester.
I'm a little surprised Coach Sterney hasn't gone more to Rasheed today.
I think it's a question of field position also. You know, you don't really run those wide corner pitches and options down in inside your 20. You're more apt to try to get some trap plays inside to free up guys and get some field position.
Merritt has 237 yards receiving this year. A nice job by him.
Partially blocked by Cariello.
There's the kick.
Portchester's offensive line broke down. Yorktown came through. Punter Munnelly tried to get the ball off, kicked it off the side of his foot, and Yorktown is in excellent field position at the 44-yard line.
2:37 remaining here in the first half. Plenty of time for Yorktown. They have the ball on the 43-yard line of Portchester.
Actually, Pete, he got in there so quick, I'm surprised he didn't fully block the ball. He might have jumped a little bit too early.
I think he was untouched. Keone, the quarterback, hands off to Robert Anderson, and he picks up about 5 yards on the run. John Williams made the tackle. It'll bring up 2nd and 5 for Yorktown.
Bobby John Williams is coming back from an injury that kept him out of a few games in the middle of the season. Last week, second half against Pearl River, he had a big half running the ball and defensively. And now he's back in there being a stalwart defensive player for Portchester.
I'll release the lone setback. Keone back to pass. He goes over the middle. He's got Weiss wide open. Touchdown, Yorktown. Don Weiss was wide open over the middle to put Yorktown on the board. 38-yard pass from Matt Keone to Don Weiss, and Yorktown now leads 6-0.
Lo and behold, the big running game of Yorktown is nowhere, so they go to their pass over the middle. Big, tall quarterback hits a wide-open Weiss over the middle. Surely some blown coverage there on Portchester, and Yorktown takes the lead.
D-backs Hegedus, Castellano, and Vic Barcarosa did pick them up, and they paid for it. Here's the extra point. It's up, and it looks good. Tim Corbra now gives Yorktown a 7-0 lead with only 1:51 remaining here in the first half. And Mark, you said it, Yorktown wasn't looking too worried. They could score at any moment, and one big play, 38 yards. Keone to Weiss.
And any betting man probably would have bet that Yorktown's first score would have been off a long drive and a short run into the end zone. But no, they go into the end zone on a nice pass from Castillon to Weiss.
So with 1:51 remaining here in the first half, Yorktown now leads 7-0.
Boys had a few drinks, did some crack, and ended up another.
So we're glad you could join us for today's game. Beautiful day here at Yorktown High School.
Now, Pete, when you think back at that last series here, Portchester had a first down close to the 50-yard line. I'll be back in a minute with that thought.
Gianderco with the ball. Got it about the 30. Returned it about 7 yards. It'll be 1st and 10 from Portchester's 37-yard line.
What I was trying to say in that, Pete, is they had the first down. They were on their own 47-yard line. Things are starting to click for their offense. They have a penalty that brings them back to the 29. They can't get a first down. They have a lousy punt. Puts Yorktown in good position. A couple plays later, Yorktown scores. So it's those little things that win and lose football games.
That penalty was very costly for Portchester. Bacarosa, the quarterback, keeps it. Looking to the left side. Looking for Rasheen Merritt, but a nice play by number 34 of Yorktown.
Adam Lodwick, that was, stuck his hand up and knocked down that pass. Actually, it was a nice play. Portchester, Gianderco was open. Linebacker Lodwick got back, stuck his hand up and knocked the ball down.
So it'll be
defense by Yorktown. It's a tough, well-coached team, and it's very much you could see that as you watch the game today.
Portchester's coach Joe Durney just called timeout with 1:15 remaining here in the first half. Bacarosa looked left, then went right, but Lodwick stayed with the play. We're going down to the field with Darren one more time. Darren?
On Huskers, but right now the Portchester offense is trying to mount a comeback. They said that if they play hard and execute hard, they can put points on the board before the half is out.
Thanks, Darren.
Yeah.
1:15 remaining here in the first half. Yorktown. A 38-yard touchdown pass from Matt Keone to Don Weiss leads Portchester 7-0. Portchester now has the ball on the 35-yard line. It's 2nd and 10 for Vic Bacarosa and the rest of the offense. Mark, I like Coach Cerny's idea of going for passing here. I think it's a good move. Bacarosa inside handoff. John Hegedus, and he might have lost a yard. Well, Durney trying to mix it up, throws one play, runs this play.
It's good angle movement on the Yorktown defense. Portchester's blocking broke down, and all of the defensive line were angling towards the ball, and they weren't fooled at all. And they're not the type of team that you could run these deception plays, I think, and do well with them.
Well, Yorktown called the timeout. It's 3rd and 11 with 56 seconds remaining in the first half. So Yorktown's looking to get the ball back and try to put more points on the board. Yorktown coach Ron Stanovica very happy with his squad this year, and he has every right to be. His team is 7-0, giving up, I think, only 34 points this season. Just a real solid club.
Sure, and they have won 16 games in a row. They haven't lost since early last year, as I said earlier in the show, to Brewster. Just a fantastic program they have here at Yorktown High School, as well as some of the other programs they have.
They're very good in lacrosse. I know they're very good at lacrosse and wrestling.
I remember coming up here, Pete, as a coach, and Coach Canetta was the head coach of Portchester, and we would have these battles with Bud Dowds, who was the coach here at Yorktown, and they had a back at that time, Kim Tompkins, who used to run all over the place and with their option play. It was just great football back then, as it is now.
Bobby Williams and John Hegedus in the backfield. Bacarosa back to pass. He's looking for number 22, John Castellano, but he overthrows it. Nice coverage there by Evan Page of Yorktown.
That time the offensive line gave Bacarosa plenty of protection. It looked like the ball was overthrown, or Castellano ran a shorter pattern than Bacarosa anticipated. But that's going to bring up a 4th down with 50 seconds left. And this could be a dangerous situation for Portchester. They need to get out of this hole and stop Yorktown from scoring any more in this first half.
Whenever you kick to Don Weiss, it's a dangerous situation. So Portchester to kick. High kick, but short. Weiss calling for a fair catch. And he makes the fair catch at about the 41-yard line. So that's where Yorktown will take it from there.
I'll tell you, out of all the players that I've seen in Section 1 over the years, this Don Weiss seems to be very, very steady. You don't see too many players get under a ball like that. You know, usually they're looking around, seeing if someone's going to bump him. He's just very steady out there. I like what I see out of him, and this is only the second time I think I've seen him play.
He's very good. He's very fast player. So it's 1st and 10. Hand off to Anderson. He goes right. He's to the 45 and down at the 46-yard line, but flags are thrown.
Yeah, in a run like that, it's either a clip or a holding call.
It looks like it's holding against Yorktown. So that'll move the ball back 10 yards. It'll be 1st and 20. Ball will be spotted at the 32-yard line.
For Portchester.
Take it back 10, Rich.
7 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Number 75.
Portchester needs to
Holding. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Not going to give up a big play. I'm not so sure that it should be a big prevent defense, but surely they should not let anyone get behind them and try to get out of here with 29 seconds left with no further damage.
That was Leach up the middle. Henry Leach got maybe a yard. Leach with 475 yards so far on the season, averages 5.3 yards a carry with 3 touchdowns. Keone back to pass. He's got Weiss, but he throws it high and too far out of bounds.
Bobby John Williams came from the inside and put the quarterback on his backside, and the ball was overthrown. But it looked like that Weiss might have had a few steps on his receiver. A well-thrown ball there might have been dangerous.
If I'm Coach Durney, I gotta keep one of my linebackers on Weiss the whole time, every play. He was open. He had a step on Williams. So it's 3rd and 20 now for Yorktown. Looks like they're going to sit on it, and they are. Keone puts a knee down, and that'll do it. That's the end of the first half, with Yorktown leading 7-0 over the Portchester Rams. And Mark, a very well played first half. Very few penalties.
I think on the Yorktown side, they may be a little bit surprised that the score is 7-0. Portchester, they have to be somewhat happy with this, even though they could have held Yorktown to a 0-0 without that play at the end of the first half.
The one penalty definitely hurt them. But they're only down by 7, and they're in this game. We're looking for a great second half. So the score is 7-0. We'll be back with halftime entertainment right after this.
Held on just about till the end of the first half, and then they gave up a touchdown to Yorktown late second quarter. What's that mean for the Portchester team? Can they have enough confidence to come back in the second half?
Well, being down 7-0, I think they have a world of confidence. You know, there's that thing behind them of what happened to them 2 years ago in the bowl game when they got blown out by Yorktown 24-0. Now Yorktown clearly dominated the first half, but they didn't dominate Portchester. And if it was for one coverage miss, it still would be a 0-0 game. So in my opinion, I think they have a world of confidence. They're going to come back out here thinking that they could win the football game.
Now, Yorktown seems to be a team that has a lot of confidence, physically bigger than Portchester, Pete. What's going on in their minds? What do they need to execute in order to have a successful second half?
Well, I think they have to stay with the defense they're doing. They're doing a nice job stopping Vic Baccarosa and the rest of the offense. And I think a key to them is just say, keep playing solid defense, watch the run. Baccarosa likes to roll out and keep the ball. They got to keep their linemen and their linebackers, in the game. And I think if they just keep it the game plan, they'll be okay in the second half.
Now, it's been sort of an emotional first half for the Portchester Rams. These guys, I noticed the coaches are spending a lot of time trying to pump their players up along the sidelines, not reminding them about last year's game, but getting them to concentrate on this year's game. And they said the key to it is execution. Has Portchester really executed in the way that they are capable of executing?
Well, outside of one play defensively, I think they have defensively. Nobody all year long, and for 2 years now, has really stopped Yorktown. And Portchester has been doing a pretty good job keeping Yorktown from grinding it out and getting that steamroller of their offense going. On the other hand, they have not been executing on offense, and I know they lost Frank Belfato, their senior captain guard, which hurts them on the offensive line, but that offensive line needs to make some blocks and to make some good trapping plays in the middle, free open the inside so that the outside can work. Without that inside working, they're not going to get their outside to work, and that's what Portchester needs to do to win the football game.
Now, Yorktown and Portchester both seem to be resolving to the running game. The Yorktown team, it seems to be pushing the ball kind of strong, but they seem not to be converting on a lot of the what seems to be the problem as far as Yorktown advancing the ball?
Well, I think you got to give credit to Portchester's defense. You know, I think they're reading Sione, the quarterback. They're covering Weiss every play except for that one touchdown play where he got open over the middle. I think Baccarosa missed him coming out of the backfield. But I think that the defense is reading Sione and doing a nice job of covering the running backs coming out of the backfield, and that's why they're only giving up 7 points so far.
Now, since I got you here, Pete, I'm going to ask you, what are the keys for the second half for Yorktown? What do they need to do to dominate this game?
First of all, defensively, keep it the same. I put a lot of guys up in the line of scrimmage, force Portchester to throw the ball. That's all. Offensively, I would give the ball to Weiss 50% of the time because the guy's got great speed. He can find an opening when there's really not an opening there. He's an excellent ball player. And I would try to keep the ball in his hand for the majority of the second half, and I think Yorktown can come out here with a win.
Now, Mark, you're on Portchester's side. Tell me, what can Portchester do in order to make this game a turnaround? They're down 7-zip. Obviously, a confidence just a little bit down. What's necessary for them to stay in this game and overtake it?
Well, I think they have to establish field position. They almost did it a few times in the first half, but penalties took them out of that. They can establish field position, and Baccarosa can open the offense up with a few throws, a few completions. That will open up the running game for Portchester, and that can get them back in the ball game.
Well, what the second half will bring, we will soon find out, but presently the score is 7-0 in favor of the Yorktown Cornhuskers. I'm Darren Jaime along with Mark Santoro and Pete Ruff. We'll be back with second half.
The marching band.
They're pride of Portchester, bringing home a lot of hardware. Every Monday, you see the hardware in the principal's office. They go to tournaments every Saturday and Sunday, and they're doing a great job. As a matter of fact, on November 6th, they're having one at Portchester High School for a lot of bands will be there, a lot of great entertainment. So anybody in the county wants to come and see some good music and some great high school people doing some good things.
One score here in the first half. It was a 38-yard pass from
They probably look at him and say, listen, guys, you know, I don't think you showed up the first half. You have to show up the second half. Portchester thinks they can win the game, and we know we're a better team, and we're going to take the ball, and we're going to run it down Portchester's throats, and we're going to score, and that'll be the end of the game.
They didn't show up, but they lead 7-0.
Absolutely. Well, I'm thinking from a coach's standpoint, what I'm telling my club, and I think this first series is going to be important for Yorktown. If they take it and stuff it, could be all over for Portchester. On the other hand, Coach Durney said, hey, listen, if it wasn't for one mistake, it's a 0-0 game. Exactly. You guys have to stop making mistakes. You have to play hard, get field position, and we'll open it up a little bit, and we can win this football game.
Well, Rasheen Merritt will do the kicks for Portchester. He'll kick to Yorktown, and the dangerous one, Don Weiss, is back to receive for Yorktown.
I'm not hearing the other announcement.
We have Frank Belfato has his ankle tape and is running up and down the sidelines. Looks like he's going to give it the old high school try.
I'm not hearing that.
I'll tell the share of Mike.
Merritt with a line drive boot that rolls into the end zone. And a touchback.
Yeah,
He touches it back there.
Do they have to share Mike?
20-yard
Yeah,
line. That's where Yorktown will take over.
We're going to go down on the field now
With our Darren Jaime.
Who's that, Mike? Where's Darren?
both of them.
I'm right here.
They just going to Darren.
Darren?
Where's Darren? Take two. Let's go to Darren. Bring Darren's mic up.
Right now, the Portchester team is trying to get themselves back into the game for the second half. Talked to Coach Joe Durney throughout the course of halftime. He said there are two key points in order to win this ball game. Number one is that they have to just plainly score more points than Yorktown. And number two, when asked about how did he feel about his first half team performance, he said he was happy with their performance.
Gained about
but the only thing that he was unhappy about was the one play that led to a touchdown. Back to Mark and Pete upstairs.
Okay.
Adam Ludwig with the carry, picked up 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8 balls on the 22-yard line of Yorktown.
Clinton Merritt did a nice job of closing that hole quickly for Portchester, limiting it to a short gain.
Matt Sione, the quarterback, hands off to Robert Anderson, who tries to go wide. And he's tackled there by number 22, John Castellano of Portchester. Looks like he lost a couple yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 11.
Said at the beginning of the half that Portchester is going to try to establish field position in the second half. This is how you do it. You keep Yorktown from moving the ball, force them to punt, and you get the ball at midfield, and now you're establishing field position for your team, which allows you to do so much more offensively.
Ball spotted on the 18-yard line of Yorktown, 3rd and 12 for the Cornhuskers. Sione back to pass. He's got a man. Oh, a nice catch by number 29 of, that's Pete Cariello of Yorktown after the ball was tipped. The ball was tipped, looked like, by Dan Gianderco. Cariello came up with a nice catch.
Portchester had nice coverage on that. They had coverage up front. They had coverage behind. Gianderco tipped the ball. Unfortunately, he tipped the ball in the air and allowed the Yorktown receiver to recover and make the catch. There was also a flag on the play. It might have been roughing the quarterback.
It is against Portchester. We'll see.
All right, that's all right then.
What the call is.
Okay, two's up.
Yep. Well, there was 2 penalties. One was roughing the passer.
5
for Yorktown after 35.
And another was like a legal hit.
First down. Roughing the pass is declined.
10 for Yorktown. Ball is on the 35-yard line of the Cornhuskers. Sione, a quarterback, hands off to Weiss. He turns around and goes back the other way, and he's taken down. Nice job by Bobby Williams to keep Weiss in his tracks.
You know, I've been saying it all game long, but Portchester needs to do the tiny little things to win this game. They've been doing a decent job stopping the running game for Yorktown overall. There's 3 or 4 plays this half so far. Yorktown has not been able to run the ball. They cover the pass play nice, but they tip it in the air. Yorktown makes cover. Then they make a silly penalty, which again takes them out of that area where they can establish good field position.
Hand off to Weiss, and he's upended at about the original line of scrimmage by number 25, Chris Lawson.
Chris Lawson did a fine job scraping into the hole and picking Weiss off and dumping him right almost at the line of scrimmage. Again, Portchester's been playing excellent defense, and Yorktown doesn't seem to be able to get on track. You see a picture of Coach Ron Santavecchia pacing the sidelines, and I'm sure he's getting concerned about the potency of his own offense. When you're used to moving that ball up and down the field all season long for 2 seasons, you can't do it on this day, then you know that maybe you're in for a ball game all game long, and it's something you have to do about that. What I think he might do is surprise everybody and start putting that ball up in the air, since they've had success doing that so far today.
So it's 3rd and a long 10 for the Cornhuskers. Sione rolls to his right, looks to throw. He's got a man, and it's incomplete. Nice defensive play by number 22, John Castellano, to prevent the pass from being caught. The pass was intended for Pete Cariello.
A nice play by Yorktown. As you see Vic Baccarosa, captain, taking his team back to the huddle. Casarella had nice position. The ball was slightly underthrown. If the ball was further downfield, Yorktown might have had a shot at it.
So Baccarosa will go back to receive the kick. It's 4th and 11. And in to do the kicking for Yorktown is number 21, Josh Wolfson. There's a snap, and there's a kick. It's a short kick. Fair catch called at the 48-yard line. Fair catch was called by number 40, John Hagedis, but he let it go. And John Hagedis almost made a big, big boo-boo. He was deciding whether or not he was going to catch it or not. He was in between decisions, and luckily the ball bounced the other way. If it bounced to him, it would have hit him, and it would have been a free ball. Bounced the other way, he got away, and now Portchester has that good field position they've been looking for. As you see the fans cheering them on here at Husker territory at Yorktown High School. Good support here for Portchester. A lot of their fans traveling up about 30 miles north to see today's game. Ball's on the 48-yard line of the Cornhuskers. Vic Baccarosa, the quarterback, keeps it and gains about 2 yards on the carry. Adam Lodewick made the tackle, but Baccarosa picks up 2 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 8 for Portchester. Lodewick got credit out there, but number 6, Ari Leach made a nice play at picking up and not letting himself be faked out by Baccarosa and made the tackle along the line of scrimmage. So 2nd and 8. 8:27 remaining here in the third quarter. Yorktown leading 7-0. Baccarosa keeps it again, and he is popped. Baccarosa was hit hard by number 34 of Yorktown, Adam Lodewick. Again, when you run a wing and you have an option, you practice against it a lot, and Yorktown is used to practicing against an option, and they, as you could see in today's game, they've been defending it very well, and Baccarosa really hasn't had much room to run today. So it's 3rd and 7, ball spotted on the 39-yard line of the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, I can hear.
Merritt in motion. Baccarosa back to pass. He scrambles away from a tackler and another one. And he's taken down at about the 40-yard line. That'll be a little short of the first down. It'll bring up 4th and 3. It was a nice open field tackle by Lynch out there. Baccarosa was scrambling around, got free, and made a nice play getting out to the outside. Lynch had a one-on-one and made the stop. But another penalty marker was thrown, and this one's against Portchester again. And penalties are killing Portchester here early in the second half.
Take it 15, Rich.
So they're going to move the ball back. Looks like
You have a dead ball foul. Number 69 of the white team. The down counts. It's 3rd down.
Looks like an unsportsmanlike call against Portchester. So that'll move the ball back to the 44-yard line of the Rams. And it'll bring up 3rd and 20. Excuse me, 4th and 20. Yeah, so 4th and 20. To do the punt is Tom Monelli. Monelli. He's a busy man today. Low kick. Weiss gets it at the 28. He's to the 35, to the 40. Penalty markers thrown, and Weiss goes down at the 46-yard line. Those are not the kind of kicks you want to get to Monelli. From Monelli. Monelli needs to get the ball up in the air to have Portchester establish coverage. You give Weiss time to run the ball, he's going to take it all over this field. So the penalty looks like it's against Yorktown. So that'll back up the Cornhuskers. And the ball spotted at the 23-yard line. So that's where Matt Cioni will take over.
What ball was that?
10 minutes needed.
That ball?
As an old coach, sometimes I get a little fearful when all of a sudden I see a lot of yellow flags come out because they seem then to never stop. And certainly you want the kids to play the game. If there's anything flagrant, call it. If not, no, let them play. Inside handoff to Weiss, and he's tackled immediately
by number 75, Phil Santambrino, the defensive tackle.
That's Captain John Flint for Portchester.
Check that, John Flynn, defensive tackle of Portchester. So it'll be 2nd and 13, a loss of 3. Ball's on the 23-yard line.
John Flynn has had an excellent year for Portchester in the middle of the line. He's been doing just a great job after missing last year with an injury.
Keone back to pass. And he's got Lodwick at about the 26-yard line. A pickup of 8. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Now you see Yorktown starting to get out of their game plan. This is second series now where they've been throwing the ball more than run the ball, and I think coach is realizing that he's going to try to open it up, maybe to get the running game going a little bit later in the game.
So 3rd and 5 for Yorktown. 5:27 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Yorktown leads 7-0. Glad you could join us here on Cablevision. Keone back to pass. He's being hurried. He throws it out to 34. That's Adam Ludwig, and he has nobody in front of him. He's got to outrun number 22, John Castellana, and it's touchdown. Touchdown, Yorktown. Adam Ludwig with a 65-yard touchdown run.
Screenplay to the right. Play was there. Portchester seemed to have it coverage. Some sloppy tackling. Ludwig got free and took it all the way down for a score.
And the Yorktown fans are rejoicing. They now lead 13-0 with 5:02 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Well, big passing day for Mazzioni, a 38-yarder and now a 65-yarder. 2 touchdown passes on the day. Corba for the extra point. And it's wide right. So Corba mixes the extra point, and Yorktown leads 13-0.
Yorktown had 320 yards passing the whole season in the first 7 games, and they have, I think that play actually was registered as a 73-yarder, plus so they have well over 100 yards passing today alone, which is more than a third of the passing yardage that they had all season long.
Well, head coach Ron Stanovic of Yorktown must have said something that worked at half. They came out and marched right down. So Yorktown will kick off from their 40, now leading 13-0. And you might sense a little urgency on that Portchester bench. Josh Wolfson to kick for Yorktown. Anthony Ceruzzi and Kevin Gorodine back to receive the kick. And it's a good kick. Merritt takes it out about the 20. He fumbles it. Well, it looks like he got it back. So Portchester will take over at about the 26-yard line.
Looks like things starting to crumble for Portchester. One of the things they need to do now is get back in the huddle and say, listen, we want to win the game. We have to stop making mistakes, and let's do what we know we can do. If they start second-guessing themselves and saying, well, you know, they're just state champs and we can't do it, you will find them falling apart real quick.
Well spotted on the 23-yard line of Portchester. It's 1st and 10 from there. Vic Baccarosa, the quarterback, hands off to number 42, Bobby Williams. And Williams picks up 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. Tackle was made by Anderson of Yorktown.
Yorktown again doing a real strong job of stopping the inside game of Portchester. Some really good hitting on the part of the linebackers line.
So it's 2nd and 8, ball spotted on the 26-yard line of Portchester. Baccarosa rolls to his left, pitches it to Merritt, but he fumbles it. But he recovers his own fumble. So Portchester will hang on to the ball, but it's a loss of 2 yards, so it brings it back to 3rd and 10 for Portchester.
Okay, Portchester now really has to really button up the chin straps and decide that they're not going to cave in here. They have the talent, they can get things going if they choose to, and I'm sure Coach Joe Durney is going to tell his team exactly that.
Rasheen Merritt had a tough time handling the pitch from Baccarosa, and it brings up 3rd and 10 for Portchester. Baccarosa rolls to his right, throws it out to Leach. That's number 21. Dan Giandirko with the catch.
Again, Giandirko is becoming one of the favorite receivers of Baccarosa. Those are the things that Joe Durney may have to go to now, since the running game seems to be going nowhere.
Ari Leach made the tackle for Yorktown, which brings up 4th and 5 for Portchester, so they're going to have to kick.
You can see Yorktown defensively and offensively starting to gain some confidence here, and it's important for Portchester to make sure they do the job.
Big boot.
Again.
Weiss gets it at the 30. He's at the 35, to the 40, and down at about the 45-yard line of Yorktown. So once again, Don Weiss with a nice punt return to give Yorktown good field position.
That's been the name of the game here today, I think. Yorktown has established field position. They give themselves a chance, even though that last play was a 73-yarder. Most of the time they've been playing in Portchester's side. Only a few times has Portchester been on Yorktown side, and it's really hard to come back with that kind of a situation. Defensively, they must stop Yorktown now.
Coyote back to pass. He's got Weiss. Pickup of about 4 yards. Tackle was made by number 22 of Portchester, John Castellano.
It's the mark of a good coach to go with what is going well for you, and how unusual to see Yorktown moving the ball through the air. It's also a credit to the team that they stayed on the ground all year long. The championship team, if they have to move it in the air, they do it, and Yorktown is doing that right now.
Well, we have an official timeout on the field.
Does Darren want to say
It'll be
something?
2nd and 5. Ball is just shy of the midfield mark.
No, they're coming up. I thought you said there's an official timeout on the field. Stand by 2.
That's Sione. Hands off to Ari Leach. And he bullies his way up past the first down to about the 44-yard line of Portchester. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Yorktown.
The fact that Portchester is losing 13-0 and Yorktown is establishing a drive now, you might see Coach Durney call a timeout just to regather the troops out there.
Weiss to the near side. Sione back to pass again. He's got a man open at about the 36-yard line.
Good three. Come out,
Cariello made a nice catch out there in the midst of a lot of traffic, and Cariello played a great game offensively and defensively. His name has come up a lot today.
It has, and Baccarosa made the stop for Portchester. Nice crowd on hand today to enjoy this great game between two solid clubs.
Take 2. 2's got it. 2's got the play. Touchdown. Yorktown.
So 2nd and inches for Yorktown, and it was Coyote.
4. Now you can get him up if they're gonna, what do you call it?
Quarterback keeper, and it looks like he has enough for a 1st down.
Well, it's first down for Yorktown again. I thought that Coach Durney might call a timeout to gather his troops out there, but he's letting them go, giving them the confidence. As he's pacing that field, calling the signals, you can see that he's cheering on his troops to do something to stop Yorktown.
Okay, we're going to go down on the field now to Darren Jaime. Darren?
Well, right now the Portchester Rams are starting to fall apart defensively. Coach Journey is reminding his team that the situation isn't that bad, but he said that there's a lot of mental mistakes that they're making, and that's the problem that they're having right now, mental mistakes. Back to Mark and Pete.
Okay, flag on the play.
Well, that was a pass from Sione to Weiss. That almost went for a touchdown. Vic Baccarosa made the saving tackle. And there was a penalty marker on the play. Portchester with another unsportsmanlike call. So that'll put them back. Their backs are against the wall, down 13-0. The ball's now spotted on the 4-yard line of Portchester, and Yorktown looks like they're going in again.
Well, as we said, Portchester had to do something quick in the beginning of the second half. They did hold Yorktown. They got the ball back, but they made some mistakes, and then they gave up the big play offensively to Yorktown, and it seems to be the ball game right now.
Sione under center. Hands off. Look, hands off to Ari Leach, and he goes in untouched. And Yorktown now leads 19-0 over Portchester. And that will do it here in the third quarter. The clock has just run out as Yorktown ran into the end zone for their third touchdown of the game.
As you see Yorktown sideline there, the fans cheering in the background. They look like they're up and ready to go to that Premier Bowl right now.
Tim Korber on again for the extra point. And this one's good, so that'll give Yorktown a 20-0 lead over Portchester. And like you said, Mark, they came out a different team, a totally different team than they were in the first half, and are showing their strengths.
I think a couple of key things.
So it's 20-0. We're going to go to the fourth quarter, but before we do that, we're going to have a report down the field by Darren Jaime. Darren?
Well, right now the Yorktown Huskers are getting their way. They're dominating the ball offensively, and that's what they wanted to do throughout the course of the game. For Portchester on defense just doesn't seem to be the key right now, and they're starting to remember about last year's game, a game in which they were shut out, and this year it looks so far the same way. For Portchester, in order to get back into the game, Coach Journey says they have to instill the mental confidence within themselves. Back to Pete and Mark upstairs.
All right, thanks, Darren. Well, my partner here, Mark, isn't as happy as he was in the first half. He sounds a little down. It's because his team's down 20-0. So it's the beginning of the fourth quarter. Yorktown kicking off to Portchester. Merritt and Gordon Dean are back to receive the kickoff for the Rams. Good kick. And the ball goes out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. Rasheen Merritt let it go out, so that's a penalty against Yorktown. And we'll give them good field position. Now, what's the key now? You're down 20-0. What's the key for Portchester?
Well, the key is not to quit. The key is to understand that you are a good football team. Sometimes things don't go your way, but you just don't pack it in until the final clock, the gun goes off and the clock runs down to 0. I think what Portchester has to do is say, listen, we want to score. We want to score in Yorktown. Let's see what happens. If they get a quick one, maybe they feel like they're back in the game. Certainly on the other side, Yorktown has to say, let's just play steady
out
now.
Of bounds.
Now we got the big lead.
We'll re-kick with a 5-yard penalty.
Well, it's an offsides call against Yorktown, and it looks like Portchester has chosen to have Yorktown kick the ball off again. Well, Portchester needs 3 scores to get back in this game. And we have another report by Darren Jaime. Darren?
Well, right now the situation on the Portchester sideline is a very complex situation. Frank Buffalo wants to play in the game right now, and he's arguing with both the doctors and the athletic coaches as to whether or not he can play. It seems like from the look of things right now, they're going to let him back into the lineup. Buffalo says if he wants to go out, he wants to go out in the right way.
Well, there's another flag. The ball was kicked out of bounds again, this time on the opposite side of the field. Ball went out about the 15-yard line. So we'll see what Coach Dirty wants to do with this one, whether he wants to get the ball, I guess it would be spotted at the 40-yard line, or he's going to have a re-kick. And it looks like he's going to have a re-kick.
Kick out of bounds. We'll re-kick with a 5-yard penalty.
From the 30-yard line. And Josh Wilson has the work cut out for him now.
The wind seems to be blowing in his favor. If he can get the ball up in the air, it still can give the Portchester poor field position. But if he kicks it a low-line drive, Portchester could get it, providing that the coverage is not that good, they could get it at midfield. You never like to see this. They always want to get it over. The coaches hate kickoffs.
So Wilson will try to keep this one in play. And here we go. It's a little chip shot. This one's in the middle of the field. Ball's picked up by 24, Anthony Ceruzzi. And Ceruzzi takes it to the 37-yard line, where Portchester will take over. 11:53 remaining in the game. Yorktown leading 20-0 over Portchester. Glad you could join us. We're going to come back right after this. Vic Baccarosa just tried to throw a pass to number 25, or 22, check that, John Castellano, and he couldn't hang on to it. 11:34 remaining in the game. Portchester trailing 20-0 to Yorktown.
Well, actually, that was great coverage on the part of Yorktown. Yorktown defender cut in front, had the ball and dropped it. It could have been an interception, very easily an interception for Yorktown on that play.
So it brings up 2nd and 10 from the 36-yard line of the Rams.
I have to be very impressed with the Yorktown team. It's the first time I've seen them this year, and they deserve to be called state champs in my book.
Castellano back to pass again. He's got Merritt open. Pickup of about 8 yards. It'll be 3rd and 8 for Portchester.
Okay, Vic Bach made a nice play to the outside, getting the ball out there, and Portchester's pretty close to a first down over the 40-yard line. This is key. If they want anything to happen positive for them on offense, they're going to have to do it right here.
So it's 3rd and 3 for the Rams. And Rasheen Merritt is coming off the field. 10:55 remaining. Portchester needs a touchdown on this series to stay in this game. Baccarosa, the quarterback, fakes the pitch out, rolls to his right, going for the corner. Pass was intended for number 22, John Castellano, but it went through his hands. Good defense by number 4, Evan Page.
Actually, that was a pretty good play on Portchester. Castellano went up, and the ball went right through his hands. Would have been a first down if he caught it. Brings up a 4th down for Portchester, and could be, as my old football coach would say, Katie bar the door. When he said that, it usually meant it's all over.
Well, the kicking team is on. 10:37. A lot of noise on that Portchester bench. Number 75, John Flynn, is going up and down screaming at his fellow players. There's a fake to Baccarosa. He's looking for an open man. He throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. The pass was intended for Dan Gianderco. Baccarosa put it there, but an excellent defensive coverage by Rich Deagle. Deagle, the junior, comes up with a big play to stop Portchester, and Yorktown will take over at the Rams' 43-yard line.
That defender for Yorktown was, he was on Gianderco like a coat. Good defensive coverage, knocked the ball down, gives Yorktown excellent field position in Portchester territory.
Yorktown was not fooled by the fake. Sione hands off to Ari Leach. He goes wide, and he's met by number 21, Dan Gianderco. Pickup of about 3 yards for Yorktown. It'll be 3rd and 7. 2nd and 7.
Yorktown's job right now is just to take the ball to Portchester, try to grind it out, slowly come out of the huddle, get 3-4 yards, another play, 3-4 yards, just wind down the clock. Now, they have a big lead, and they really don't need to do anything else.
Ball's on the 39-yard line of Portchester. Matt Cioni hands off to Ari Leach again. Or check that. That's Robert Anderson who takes it for a first down. Robert Anderson high-stepping over a few defenders of Portchester, and he takes it down to the 29-yard line of Portchester. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cornhuskers.
I'm really impressed with some of the Yorktown players. Their offensive line does a nice job of sticking together, making some holes, and they have a series of backs that just seem not to quit.
2 men in motion for Yorktown. Cioni hands off to Lodwick. He goes wide, and he's taken down at about the 20-yard line. Tackle was made by number 61, Chris Berlingo.
When you watch Leach, Anderson, Weiss, and Ludwig carry the ball, they all have different styles. It must be drive coaches crazy to try to defense this team. And right now, they're just taking the ball to Portchester. I think Portchester realizes that it's in trouble, and it doesn't look good for them right now.
Well, it's 1st and 10, ball on the 19-yard line of Portchester. 8:57 and counting remaining here in the game. Yorktown with a 20-0 lead. Coyote rolls out, and a diving try by Donnie Weiss. Just a little too far for him. Good effort, though, by Weiss. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 for Yorktown.
And at that time, Coach Ron Santivica went for the juggler, knowing that if he scores now, it's all over. Surprised me a little bit. I thought he'd keep it on the ground, let the clock run down, since there's it's almost a 3-touchdown lead with the extra points. But he went for the big one, tried to put it away for Yorktown. And, of course, that's important when you have these other sections looking at the scores and seeing how good we are. So you can almost understand what's in the minds of the coaches when they do these things.
2nd and 10. Keone tries to run it up the middle, but he's taken down immediately by number 75, John Flynn, the defensive tackle for Portchester.
Again, another pass play called by Yorktown. This time, Portchester defensive line busted through, led by senior captain John Flynn, and sacked Yorktown for a loss and brings up 3rd and long.
We'll call it 3rd and 15 from here. Passing situation for Yorktown. 8:15 remaining.
Excuse me, Pete. What's impressive about Yorktown is the fact that they don't make any mistakes. Even though they weren't running the ball, there were no fumbles, there's no interceptions, no big penalties. They don't take themselves out of the ball game.
Cioni barking out the instructions. Hands off to Ludwig. He's going to throw it. It's picked off by Vic Baccarosa at the 10. He's to the 20. And Baccarosa takes it out to the 21-yard line, and flags come in flying late. It might have been a late hit there on Baccarosa, but a big play for Portchester. They're not dead yet.
What I just say, Pete, about Yorktown? Don't make mistakes. You know, I'm a little bit puzzled by that because, you know, you're in close, you're running the ball well, and you have a 3-touchdown lead. It's really not that necessary to do this. Even on this 3rd and long play with a halfback pass, seems like they're trying to
we have a face mask
touchdown in, but it may not
Black
be necessary
team,
to do so.
15-yard penalty,
Want to give
first down.
Any reason to get back in the football game. Now they make a big play, and there's a penalty on top of it. They get the ball on the 40-yard line, and who knows?
Well, the face mask against Yorktown, so that moves the ball up to the 40-yard line of the Rams. 7:32 remaining. Portchester needs a touchdown now, and there was movement on the defensive line of Yorktown. Looked like number 42, Matt Storm, the nose tackle. But it looked like he was drawn off by a Portchester player.
On the center, we have a dead ball foul. False snap.
Illegal motion.
It's a 5-yard penalty.
On Portchester,
First down,
so that'll
15.
move the ball back 5 yards, and you know Coach Joe Durney did not want to see that. So the ball's now spotted on the 40-yard line of Portchester. Baccarosa fakes a pitch out, inside handoff to Kevin Gordine, and he picks up 8 yards. Tackle was made by number 42, Matt Storm. It'll be 2nd and 8 for Portchester.
Nice play by Portchester's offensive line on an inside trap, favorite of the wing T play, going for a long yardage for Portchester. Probably one of the longest running plays of the day.
2nd 8, ball's on the 42-yard line of Portchester. Baccarosa back to pass. He's looking over the middle, and he threw it behind Rasheen Merritt, and it was almost picked off by number 34, Adam Lodwick.
Adam Lodwick had that ball, I think, hit him in the chest. I think he was more shocked than anything that that ball hit him there. He was banging his hands on his helmet. I think he, if he was paying more attention to that football, he would have had an interception right there.
Well, Lodwick's got a cast on his right hand, so I'm sure it's hard for him to grab the ball, especially when you're not expecting it coming at you.
Stay down.
So it's 3rd and 8 for the Rams. Baccarosa and company desperately in need of a first down here. Back to inside handoff to Kevin Gordine, and he's just shy of the 50. That's where he needs to get to get a first down. And he got it to about the 47-yard line. He'll bring up 4th and 3 for Portchester, and it looks like they're going to go for it.
Adam Lodwick has been all over the field, as some of the other Huskers today. He's just played a tremendous game. He made a nice tackle. That Gordine had first down all the way until Lodwick showed up and tripped him up right before the pin.
So Portchester's going for it. 4th and 2. Baccarosa hands off to number 42, Bobby Williams. And he's going to have enough for a first down, a big first down for Portchester. And Pete Carello made the tackle for Yorktown.
Okay, somebody's helmet's off. I don't know if it's, trying to look at who it might be. Number 21, Dan Janderko. No time to lose your composure. It's no time to do anything silly. Hey, you're playing an excellent team, and you have to realize that they weren't going to sit down because you were showing up. You got to keep your composure, and you want to score. You may not, with 5:41, maybe you can't score 3 touchdowns, but you want to show them that there's no quit in you either.
Tim Korber was the man on the tackle on that last play. And I'm still kind of surprised that Rasheen Merritt hasn't touched the ball as much. He averages he's been averaging 6.4 yards a carry so far this season, and he has 13 receptions for 237 yards. So you know he's a big time player, a big receiver. 5:35 remaining. 1st and 10 for Portchester on the Yorktown 48. Baccarosa with pressure, and he's sacked at about midfield by number 75, Phil Santambrino.
Again, Baccarosa at that time had his eye set on one receiver. He didn't look to a secondary receiver soon enough. If that guy's covered, he has to check off and look a little sooner at the other receivers. There might have been one guy open on the other side of the field. But nonetheless, a lot of pressure by Yorktown. And I think he also received that warning from the Ossining quarterback during the week. I forget his first, I think it's Bob Versace, told Baccarosa, they're going to be pressuring you, so watch out.
2nd and 12 for the Rams. Baccarosa with an inside pitch again to Kevin Gordine. And he gets about 3 on the carry. It'll be 3rd and 9 for Portchester. Ball's on the 46-yard line.
Who's the middle guy?
Look at that play, and it looks like Gordine has a lot of room to run. Then all of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 Yorktown players converge on him. They close the gaps so quick, and that's why they're such a good team. You know, they might get blocked, but they're not going to stay blocked.
3rd and 9. Baccarosa to pass again. It's picked off by number 3, Robert Anderson. And he's to the 40, to the 30, And he looks like he's pushed out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. So Robert Anderson with the big pickoff for Yorktown, and that'll all but do it for the Rams.
A lot of pressure on Baccarosa by Yorktown. He tried to get rid of the ball as quick as he could, threw it. There was no Portchester receiver around, and Yorktown picked it up, and now they're in 4-down territory again, deep in Portchester's side of the field.
Robert Anderson with the big pickoff with only 3:57 remaining here in the game. All but seals up this game for Yorktown as they lead 20-0 over Portchester.
Well, man, where you guys going?
Looks like there's an official timeout on the field. So with 3:57 remaining here in the game, Yorktown leads 20-0. Where the Cornhuskers lead 20-0 over Portchester. Glad you could join us. Pete Ruff, Mark Santor, and Darren Jaime on board here today, calling you the game. Yorktown just dominating the second half. Led 7-0 after the first half and has come on to score 13 points here in the second half. And it doesn't look good for the Portchester Rams. Mark Santora, a big fan of Portchester. He's still, even though they're down 20, they played a good game.
Yorktown fans mad at me here. Well, you know, guys, I have taught at Portchester High School for 23 years. I played for Portchester. I coached Portchester. I guess I have to have a little Portchester in me. But then again, I always taught my players when I coached that you don't fear your enemy, you respect your enemy. And I know Portchester had a lot of respect for the Yorktown club, and this is the reason why, because they just keep coming at you. No quitting them.
Yorktown looking to go back to the state championships again up in Syracuse, New York. It looks like there was a fumble there. Don Weiss lost the handle, and Portchester recovered. So they'll take over. Ball spotted at the 35-yard line with 3:37 remaining here in the game. And
York, again, that was a reverse. Quarterback gave it to one player coming one way, and then there was a ball given back to Weiss on the inside, and he lost the handle. I am a little bit surprised to see Yorktown handling the ball like that this time in the game when they can easily run out the clock with just a blast and short running game.
Baccarosa scrambling, going to his right. He puts the ball down. He's going to run, and he's ripped down at the 37-yard line, and a flag comes in.
Hey, buddy. Right here. Take it 15.
Baccarosa taken down hard
Face
by the Yorktown defense. Looks like Matt Storm had that big right hand in there. It's a 15-yard penalty. Face mask they call.
On the black team. That's a 15-yard penalty at the end of the run. First down.
Yorktown 47-yard line. So Portchester looking to put points up on the board with only 3:06 remaining here in the game. Now the winner of this game will play the winner of Somers and Nyack.
Right.
Which game is also today.
That becomes the Premier Bowl in Conference B, and Portchester and the loser will play in the other game will play in the Coaches Bowl.
Baccarosa keeps it again, and he's got enough for another Portchester first down. He's down at the 37-yard line, tackled by Jeff Lynch. So 2 first downs in a row for Portchester.
Baccarosa has been the blood and guts of the offense the whole year long. He's an excellent representative scholar athlete at Portchester, and he's one of the guys that'll keep the team going, even though at this point there may not be a chance to win this game. He's going to want them to score.
Baccarosa back to pass. Ball is tipped, but a nice catch by number 40, John Hegedus. He followed the ball into his hands. It's a pickup of about 3 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 7 for Portchester.
Okay, Portchester's going with no huddle now. Try to get as many plays in as they can to see if they can score here late in the 4th quarter.
Baccarosa to pass. Scrambling, and he's taken down and sacked at the 48-yard line by Ari Leach. Ari Leach broke through and was able to grab Baccarosa and bring him down. So that's a 10-yard loss for the Rams, and it'll bring up 3rd and 19. And Portchester calls a timeout.
Vic Baccarosa had some time there, was trying to point some receivers in certain directions. He might have been more apt to, when he had some time, to roll out to either side of the field, where he would have had time to more time to look downfield.
Now you see Chris Lawson on the sideline of Portchester getting talked to. Lawson played a great game, both sides of the ball, offense and defense. You see a lot of players that are on both sides. They play offense, defense. You know, come fourth quarter,
who's selling spots?
They have to be extremely tired. You know, playing almost the whole game.
Well, Portchester's squad, I can't speak for Yorktown. Their squad seems to be a little bit bigger. On looking at their rosters in their booklet that they sell here, they have 2 complete teams, JV and a varsity team. Portchester really does not have a varsity team. All their players are on this team, and then on Mondays, players who hadn't played get a chance to play in what they call a modified JV schedule. So Portchester does have a lot of players who go both ways, but that's no excuse for why they would. I mean, they've won games all year long doing this. And I'm sure Yorktown, as we've called out, there's many of their players going both ways. You're going to put your best players out there, and I don't know if fatigue really had anything to do with it. It's probably more, the talent of the clubs that are out there.
So it's 3rd and 20 for Portchester from the Yorktown 46-yard line. Baccarosa to pass again. He's scrambling. He's going to run with it. And he's taken down at about the 43-yard line by Matt Storm, the nose tackle. So Baccarosa hasn't been able to find an open receiver the last few downs. All he's been able to do is run with it.
I wouldn't be surprised, Yorktown may be expecting a long pass here, try to get a first down. I wouldn't be surprised to see either a halfback pass or an option play or even one of their patented sweeps to get outside.
1:16 and counting remaining here in the fourth quarter. Yorktown will move on to play the winner of Nyack and Somers. And there's a pass over the middle to number 22, John Castellano. And that'll move Portchester down inside the 10-yard line of Yorktown. It'll be 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 9-yard line. And Portchester not giving up yet.
Well, I think in the fourth quarter, when they were going back and forth there at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I think Portchester had to make a decision. Were they totally going to cave in and lose 35-0, or were they going to try to get back and make the score respectable to the point where, you can go home and say, hey, listen, we're played the state champs to a 20-7 ball game, and if we didn't make these mistakes, we might have done even better.
So 1:03 remaining here in the ball game. As the wind starts to pick up, as Halloween approaches us, or by the time you see this game, Halloween will be past. You can't say enough about this Yorktown defense. They only have given up 35 points in 7 games.
5 points a game, less than a touchdown a game. I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, they deserve their #1 ranking. They deserve to play in the Premier Bowl and have a chance to go back to the States again. They're just an excellent coach team with a lot of talent.
So Baccarosa gets in behind his center, fakes the pitch out, rolls to his left, and he's taken down at the 16-yard line. So another sack, this one by Matt Pansy. Clock is running, 48 seconds and counting, with Portchester in the hurry-up. Baccarosa going over the middle. The pass was intended for number 21, Dan Giandirko, but the ball was tipped by Jeff Lynch, with the nice hands.
As you speculate at the end of the game and take a look at the field and see what's going. Everyone's converging in the middle. It looks like that. Well, we just got a score that Nyack beat Somers, so it looks like Nyack will play in the Premier Bowl against this fine Yorktown team, and Portchester will meet Somers in the Coaches Bowl.
Nyack, they improved their record to 7-1 overall. Baccarosa back to pass again. He gets it out to Rasheen Merritt. But they're going to lose yard on that, as Merritt was behind the line of scrimmage when he caught the ball. And there's 17 seconds remaining and counting.
So the Premier Bowl is going to be played by Yorktown versus Nyack. Nyack's sole loss comes at the hands of Portchester, and Portchester beat them by a touchdown at Ryan Stadium in Portchester a few weeks ago.
We covered the game up there. And now you saw Nyack then, and you see this Yorktown club. How do you see next week's game?
Well, I see it similar to today, in that the first half today, I should say, in that Yorktown is going to come against a highly talented team. They have a potent offense, Nyack. Their defense is solid. They have a good coach who knows how to coach well. And if they follow their game plan, they can hang tough. The key to Nyack will be the same as the key to Portchester. They can't have silly penalties. They can't make interceptions or fumbles. They can't take themselves out of things. You can't afford to do that against Yorktown. Portchester did that against Yorktown today, and it cost them dearly. The score is 20-0. The first half was a very close game, one play, and it would have been 0-0. So I think Nyack has to play a better game than Portchester played against Yorktown today, and certainly they have a chance.
Baccarosa back to pass, goes over the middle. Pass was intended for Rasheen Merritt, but it was knocked down by Don Weiss. So that stops the clock with 11 seconds remaining. And the Yorktown Cornhuskers will be moving on to play Nyack next week. Yorktown just a dominant team, both offensively and defensively. You can't say enough about the running back Don Weiss, with outstanding speed, outstanding hands, great eye, good, can really read the field. And I think this kid's got a good future in college football.
And that's not to mention Lodwick and Anderson and Leach, who also did an outstanding job carrying the football and you know, moving the ball up the field for the Yorktown Cornhuskers.
So here we go. This might be the last play. Yorktown takes over and they put their knee down. Quarterback Maxioni puts his knee down, and that ought to do it. So Yorktown will move on to play Nyack next week, as Portchester will face Somers. All overall, a great game, Mark. And do you feel that you saw last year's Yorktown team play? Is this team as good as last year's team?
Well, you know, I think so. I think so. You know, I've only seen them once. People who see him every week can be better judged than I of the quality of last year's team versus this year's team. But certainly, when you score 250-something points and only give up 35, and that's equivalent to last year, you have to say that they're at least as good as, and maybe even better than, last year's state champs. And they have the manpower to go all the way again. Very impressed with them. And I wish them luck the rest of the way.
So that'll do it. Your final score: Yorktown 20, Portchester nothing. We'll be back with some interviews and some final thoughts right after this.
Town Cornhuskers 20, the Portchester Rams nothing. Darren Jaime along with Pete Ruff and Coach right here. Coach, excellent game for your ball club. First half was kind of so-so. How did you evaluate the first half?
First, I want to comment on your suit. It's looking very good.
We knew Portchester was going to be tough. We saw them on film. We exchanged film. We knew what type of kids they were, tough kids. And I think that maybe my kids just underestimated them a little bit. You know, it was real hard getting emotionally up 2 weeks in a row, especially after playing your arch rival, Arsenal.
Pete, I know you have a couple of questions for the coach.
Coach, you guys were state champs last year. Is this team as good as last year's team, do you think, at this stage?
That's tough to say. We're doing a few things different. We were a little more ball control last year. We're throwing the ball more this year. We're doing a few things different. It's hard to say. I hate to compare teams. They're both good in their own right, you know. You look at schedules and things like that. I'm real pleased with where we are. This time last year we had one loss, and now we don't have any, so I'm kind of pleased.
20-0 was the score. You guys seemed to put it on together in the second half. What was the difference, and what was the turnaround for you in getting involved offensively?
Well, we had to get something going. They were just trying to gang up on the run, so we had to throw the ball a little more, which we did. And the key thing was that we completed them. You know, there were certain throws that we had people open and we didn't connect up. But as long as our defense plays well, we'll be in every game.
It seemed like on your defense, you put everybody up front. You have like 5 guys on the line, it seems like it sometimes. I mean, it's obviously worked. You've only given up 35 points all season. Do you look at teams and say, hey, this team's only going to run, I'm gonna push lines up? Do you ever, I mean, you only have 5, I mean, you put 5 guys up there, you know, what, 2 linebackers. Is that like a regular game plan for you?
That's our regular defense, and we make adjustments according to who we're playing. If you're passing, if you're running, and we make all our adjustments within the complexity of the look. So you'll see us in that look, but we'll make some adjustments off it by who we're playing.
Well, right now you guys are 8-0, and now we have to look to the future. Nyack was victorious today. You'll be going up against them very shortly. What do you feel is going to be the keys in being victorious over Nyack? Well, we're going to have to run the ball again. We're going to have to go back to basics this week, get emotionally ready to play them. They're very big, physical, and fast. And we're going to have to run the ball, block well, and get some movement on the ground, and then open it up again with the pass to try to keep them off balance. Thank you very much, Coach. Darren Jaime along with Pete Ruff. If you just tuned in, the final score here at Cornhusker Stadium is the Yorktown Cornhuskers 20 and the Portchester Rams nothing. For Darren Jaime and Pete Ruff, we'd like to thank you for watching the game. Tune in next time on Cablevision Sports.
Calling this, too, I believe it was Pete Ruff calling the game right here on Cablevision, so let's listen in and watch.
Lead 7-0. Glad you could join us here on Cablevision. Coyote, back to pass. He's being hurried. He throws it out to 34. That's Adam Ludwig, and he has nobody in front of him. He's got to outrun number 22, John Castellana, and it's touchdown. Touchdown, Yorktown.
All right. Great camera work, too, by the way. We got to find out who that cameraman was, because I tell you what, he picked it up early and stuck with him the whole way. Not as easy as it looks, folks, and not like radio, JR. No. And,
what do you mean, not like radio?
Because you were kind of blowing that off when I was talking about the good camera work, JR. You know that, it takes skill to be a good cameraman. But how about Adam Lodwick with the Nestea plunge? We talked to him after the game on radio. We're up there in the tower, and we're kind of screened from the right corner of the end zone, and I didn't see the Nestea plunge. That was a nice Nestea plunge, one of the better ones I've seen.
I would give it a 9.5. I would give it myself. But what just to see Adam Lodwick plow through really defense that wasn't there by the sideline and then run into the end zone. It really shows a combination of the throwing and then of the speed to complete it. And that's one thing I think that will be in Yorktown's favor. I see Yorktown winning this game.
Now, Kenny, how did this play? In the Ossining game, Yorktown had a big screen pass with, this time, in that occasion, it was Don Weiss. This time it was Adam Lodwick. But a little bit of a different play. What was the difference?
Well, Joe, I know we've had a lot of discussions about that play with Coach Ron Stanovic. I said it was a play Lou Holtz used at Notre Dame. It was an under screen. Usually screens are to the flat and the outside, and the linemen have to go to the flats to protect for the screen, to set up the screen, but this screen was an under screen. You call it a slant, I call it an under screen. Well,
Ron Stanovic, first of all, denies that he would ever take any play from Lou Holtz.
Well,
let's just make that very clear right now. I mean, Lou Holtz, his latest charade, shamelessly running up the score on the Naval Academy. Come on, Lou, I know it's been a rough year, but that's a little bit ridiculous. And so
I think there's legislation against that, by doing that against the Naval Academy.
Yeah, there probably is legislation against that, JR. But how is this play? That's the jailbreak play they ran against Austin.
Well, Coach Stanovic was smart, and he knew that Port Chester was looking at films, and they were at the Austin game, and he knew they were filming that game. So with that play, what he did, he got it from Coach DiMatteo at Gorton.
Don DiMatteo?
Don DiMatteo at Gorton was an under screen, and what it was is Don Weiss would cut to the slant to the middle underneath, and then he would be underneath the lineman. They would just let the guys jailbreak. That's what it was called. Let all the defensive guys come to him, come to Matt Keone, the quarterback. He would just dump it over their heads with the lineman there blocking, and he just took off. And Weiss, with his speed and his elusiveness, was able to score. Last week against Port Chester, Coach Stanovic knew they saw the play, were able to read it and see what they were doing. They faked it, the same play. They faked it to Weiss, and they had the other halfback, Lodwick, go out in the flat, and he was wide open. What he did is he had a man guarding him, and he was able to get by him. And after that, he was down the sideline with no one there to get him. It was a great play, and it really worked, and it really helped to really, up 7-0. It really opens up the game more.
Yeah, it really did. And talk about opening things up. The final touchdown of the game did just that for the Yorktown against Port Chester. Not nearly as dramatic as the first two, but R.A. Leach has been a consistent player for Yorktown, and I think we owe him this to run it. But it was a nice run for R.A. Leach on the touchdown run right here that closed out the scoring to make it 20-0. The score was 13-0 at the time. Let's take a look.
Sione under center. Hands off.
There it is. Good blocking right there,
hands off to
JR and Kenny. I think we really have to credit the Yorktown offensive line as well as R.A. Leach and Phil Settembrino and Matt Panzi and Jeff Lynch and the whole gang for doing a great job on the line. And this was not a really well-played game for Yorktown. It was not one of their better games of the year. They're coming off the Ossining game, which is always their game of the year, and they did not play particularly well, but they won 20-0 nevertheless.
I think it was great for them to have to establish the throw. I have a feeling they may need it, as in playing Section 9 and beyond. The competition is not that great upstate, but if a team is going to force you to throw, then you may as well have had experience. You have to go back to the Tommy Lopez days of quarterback back in 1990 at Yorktown to have